get everything organised, so when I come here, then I can just forget about Australia and focus on the Philippines. Yeah, no stress and no bills. Yeah. So, and not touch my seatbelt. That's the plan.
Why is it you choose to be with a Filipina rather than another Asian woman, Australian woman, American?
Well, no. Originally, years ago, when my sensei was alive, I was going to go to Japan to train, and I wanted to get a Japanese woman, but only in a karate club. Yeah, but I love culture. I love Asian culture, and that's why. So if she could be Thai. It wouldn't matter. I love Asian culture.
Yeah, because Thailander and Filipina are just looks like the same.
Sorry?
Correct? The Thailander
looks the same or don't look the same?
look the same as Filipina. Kind of morena.
I was in Thailand a short while. It's hard to explain it. They're on a different mental level.
Yeah, because we went. Terence and I went to Thailand.
Yeah, they're Buddhists.
Yeah, we went to Thailand, and then every time we go to the store, the sales lady saying, "Are you a Thailander?" You know, I said no, because the beauty of the Thailander and the Filipina are the same, except if it's mixed marriage.
Yeah.
The result is half foreigner, half you know.
But and they are polite, really polite.
Yeah, very polite.
But it's a Buddhist country, and they're a little bit sensitive, extremely sensitive. You know what I mean? They're not as laid back as a Filipino, whether you're Christian or not. They're a real devout Buddhist, and you can easily offend them. You know, so you've got to be very, very, very respectful. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get put in prison for criticising the king.
Yeah, yeah. And when I was there that time, I've actually seen every single Thai lady, even in a 7-Eleven or in shopping centres, will move out of your way and respectful. But when a guy is standing in a queue for an elevator, he will barge his elbow through, literally push her to the side and jump in. The guys are very disrespectful to the women. I found that in the hotel I stayed at. But I always put my hand out and offer them to go in first, but they just push in. They're very, very disrespectful. Yeah. But the women are very respectful, even at the counter. I had a problem at the counter getting a cab when I was leaving, because the woman that was on that day speaks no English. And then I went down the road to get a taxi to the airport. Luckily I booked it that night to confirm I'm on the flight, or I wouldn't have got on the flight. 3 cabs refused me. Two wouldn't take me to the airport. It was an hour and 20 minutes to the main airport from Thailand, from Bangkok. And the other one could not speak English. And when I showed him the airport on the GPS, even though it's the international airport, Bangkok, he said he couldn't read it because it was in English.
He was also refusing to take it.
Yeah, so I lost well over an hour, and I got to the airport 45 minutes before my flight. And I was in panic mode, because when I got there, not panic mode, but I was on the floor trying to, the lady didn't want to help. She wasn't nice, but anyway, because people were agitating her. And I had my stuff all out on the floor at the counter, trying to figure out, with no internet, the internet there's terrible. And the lady come over and said, "Sir, are you okay?" She says, "Oh, the internet's not good here." She got her phone out, had to do a health pass, and I had to show, because you've got to get like a Thai pass, health pass, before you can actually exit to come from Thailand to the Philippines. And if she hadn't helped me and then pushed all the codes in and then done a screenshot of a pattern, I wouldn't have been able to get on that plane. But I've got full cover. I took full cover insurance out. The flights, I said, I don't care, I'll just do it. I didn't want any headaches. So they assured me $3,000 to get me home if for some reason the flights are cancelled. I'm insured, so they get me home. Liability, I think, is if you break your neck. No, that's no good to me. But I'm insured for $3 million. But I said, well, you can't, it's no good to you. You don't get $3 million.
No.
And who wants a broken neck? but if I die, I'm worth $45,000 if the plane goes down. But I didn't do a will, so I can't leave it to anybody. That's my humour. But yeah, so they really looked after me, the flight centre. She did 3 lots of paperwork. She even marked it and said 3 hours before each flight, don't leave don't leave Manila airport. You can be mugged and it's unsafe. Stay at the airport for a couple of hours and wait for your next flight. When I got to the Philippines, not Thailand, Thailand they weren't helpful. The guys are not helpful at the airport, they ignore you. When I got to the Philippines, I never even had to put up an Aussie sign. They actually said, sir, you follow me, and they walked me through the whole airport, through all the systems, did all the paperwork, and made sure that I was waiting at the gate to get on that plane. I could not believe the service. They even took me to an ATM. I've never seen that in my life.
And that,
when I
that
came
was,
to the Philippines,
that was an employee of the airline?
all the employees were doing it. At Mactan, at Manila, they all, without even knowing who I was, they obviously knew I was a foreigner, they came up to me and they escorted me through all the gates, did all the paperwork. It's like they were waiting for me, and they couldn't do enough for me, and I couldn't believe it. Their service was amazing. Their pilots, I said to them, are amazing. That is the best landing I've ever had. In the 2 drops into Philippines, Cebu, Mactan and Manila, I didn't even feel the plane land. It was that smooth. And I'm used to being on a mine site and bang, 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 bang. And I said to them, you need to get Filipino pilots into Australia to teach Aussies how to fly planes, because it was that good. I felt really, I could get on a plane in the Philippines tomorrow and not feel nervous. But we're nervous every time we fly out to a mine site because we get updrafts. We fly into canyons and the plane starts doing this, and when they land they bounce like that.
Yeah.
And it's pretty freaky. So yeah, so I just couldn't get over how friendly the airports and Philippines is extremely friendly.
Yeah, well, the Filipinos.
The Thailand's not. The women are extremely polite, but I haven't even come across, except for connoisseurs in the hotels.
Yeah.
That's their job. But basically, when you're walking in the street, when you go to a bank, the security guys are polite. But basically, in general, when you go to shopping centres and that, the guys literally in escalators and elevators and that shove their way through women to get into that elevator or escalator. There's no respect towards the women. Yeah, and I was shocked. That shocked me, how rude they were. But I did love Thailand, I will say that. I did love Thailand. But I got tired of walking down the street, and they do it in public. And that's fine. But the bus drivers get off the bus at, on the main road, right in front of everyone else waiting at a bus stop, and urinates in front of them. And it's just normal for them. Yeah. But, but there's places around the hotel where they had a bit of a tent and homeless, but they're driving motorbikes and picking you up, and they all group like little taxis, the motorcyclists, but they live homeless together with half a dozen dogs on the side of the street, and that's their life, and it's a little bit it's an eye-opener. So yeah, so I like Thailand. I wasn't sure if I'd like Philippines as much, because it's really colourful, but it's too congested, too many buildings, and you need to go up. I went to a Buddhist temple up in Myanmar, and we went and seen the Buddhists and the temples and that, which was amazing. But I didn't like the city. I don't like Bangkok.
Well, it's just a big city.
And it's all 7-Elevens every 50 metres. I'm not kidding. It's 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven. You could get 5 7-Elevens just in one street, near each other, and they're very expensive. And it's like $50-60 a night If you were with somebody, that would cost you to feed. It's extremely expensive to eat in Thailand, in the city. The restaurants are very expensive. The food, it doesn't fill you. Yeah. So, and now that I've tasted it, I've never had sushi, and I had sushi last week. I've never had it, and I couldn't believe how good it was. Because I just thought it was smelly fish. No offense. That's one of your videos. Oh, that's another thing. That's another thing. What's that called? That half bird in the egg. What?
Balut.
Balut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to try that before.
No. Sorry.
You need to try that.
No,
You will buy it. It's in the
I
other
can't.
size.
I can't put a half dead animal in my throat. I'm sorry.
No,
And
it's
no,
not.
and no
It's
offense.
not dead animal. It's cooked animal.
Yeah, but it's got a beak on it and it's got an eye looking up at you. And I'm sorry, I can't. And smelly fish. I'm sorry. I have to have fresh food. If I buy bread and it's 2 days old, I throw it out.